My husband poured our daughter's ashes into the toilet and threw her urn at me. I am not the original poster. That is you, temporary, 9031 and her first account, which is now deleted. She posted in R, off my chest. Thank you to you, Direct Caterpillar 77 for suggesting this post. Please look at the trigger warnings since this is a very heavy post. Trigger warnings: domestic violence, child death, alcoholism, attempted suicide, overdose, less than, mood spoiler, depressing and grief-filled, less than. Original post. Recovered with RawReddit. August 4, 2023. I'm posting this on a throwaway as my main account is very identifying and I just need to vent. I'm feeling sad, alone and terrified. My head hurts. My heart hurts. I feel so alone and I don't know where to turn to. I had to spend the night in my car last night. I couldn't sleep through crying, trying to stay warm enough and thinking that somebody was going to suddenly appear at the windows. I've been trying to find a place to park up so I can try to sleep today and I've found a place but I can't rest. I feel so empty and scared. I don't want to go into much detail here but our daughter passed away very suddenly last year. My husband and I both got help and have tried to work through it together. But his drinking has been getting more and more out of control. It got to a point where he started to try to hide it but it was making his behavior worse. I had a breakdown 2 months after our daughter passed and I hadn't been work since. I had quite a bit put away in savings and some money I inherited. So I was using that to contribute at home while I have tried to get myself back in better health. In January my husband started on his sobriety journey but his business started to suffer. There were some difficulties through the lockdowns and we both worked hard to make sure the business made it through. He took out a loan earlier this year and I gave him the rest of my savings and started back at work. Things were going well with the business and as well as they could have been for us. Until he relapsed last month and was hiding it from me. I lost my job 2 weeks ago and have been looking for work since. It's been stressful but nothing we couldn't have managed. Yesterday I got home and my husband was already home and was very drunk. It was a very loud and out of control kind of state he was in and he was slamming around the house, saying he was looking for something. I couldn't get much sense out of him and he was really irate. I didn't really know what to do and when I tried to ask if he was okay he got in my face and was quite aggressive with me. He randomly started to throw accusations at me, accusing me of all kinds of things that I have no idea where any of it came from. I was scared at that point and didn't want to be in the house with him. I hadn't seen him that angry before and I think it was a buildup of grief that had come spilling out. But I felt scared. I put my shoes and coat on and told him I was going to head out for a while. That's when he snapped and accused me of trying to leave him. It all happened very suddenly but he charged at me and got hold of my arm and threw me onto the floor and pulled me down the hallway. At some point of him drunkenly shouting about him not letting me leave him, he suddenly stopped and told me he was going to give me a reason to hate him so much. He stormed off into the front room, took the urn with our daughter in and headed to the downstairs toilet. I got up and tried to stop him from doing whatever he was able to do. When he went towards the toilet I was trying to stop him and was pleading with him not to. He shoved me quite hard and I fell. He poured all of the ashes into the toilet and threw her urn at me, hitting my leg. He then started yelling at me to get out before he killed me. I was shaking and felt like I was frozen but I managed to get up and run to the front door. I took my keys and my handbag and drove off. I had no idea where to go, so parked up in a quiet area and just cried. I have done practically nothing but cry since. I have no family around and no friends that I can turn to who are close by. I was sick earlier on but I've managed to keep some water down. I thankfully keep a supply of it in the car. I don't know what to do. I switched my phone off all night in case he tried to contact me. I didn't want to hear from him. He's tried to call me today, but I can't be around him while he is drinking again. I can't let him keep taking his anger out on me like this. I feel like it's all my fault. Everything. I just needed to vent. I'm exhausted of feeling like this. Relevant comments. Go report this to the police. Without trying to sound dismissive, I don't think the police will really care. They aren't responding to a lot more serious crimes. I have no proof of his treats to kill. It would be my word against his on what happened last night. And I'm worried that if they go to speak to him that he will destroy any of her things that are in the house out of spite. I have never felt so alone and unsure of what to do. Do you have any family or trusted friends to help you get your stuff? I don't have anybody around I can turn to for help, or a place I could take her belongings if I was to get them. I will figure something out over the weekend, and then I can always ask the police got assistance in safely getting our belongings. I've got a gift card for a coffee place and it's open until 10 p.m. so I'll be able to charge my phone, power bank and have somewhere safe to do some Googling and any calls that I need to do today. I'm sure I'll be able to sort something out. Family. It's a long story, but to shorten it as much as possible, I grew up in the care system. It was chaotic and I was moved around so much that I didn't even form a family of my own. I struggled to form any friendships. I met my husband while we were both young and it's pretty much just been us and the odd connection, brief friendship over the years. Any other friends or couples and I don't feel like I can reach out to them about this. I'm going to search on where I can contact for some help. I know a lot of places go on referrals. I had my brother but he passed away 5 years ago. He wasn't married, had no children and left everything to me. He left me alone in the world in terms of family. 18 hours later. Oop reports. I haven't gone back. I can't be around him after this. He has had anger issues when drinking before, but not anything as extreme as on Thursday. I'm still in disbelief at what he has done. I've submitted a report on the Greater Manchester Police website and I'm just waiting for it to be looked at and to hear back. Oop responds to a comment telling her to take pictures and commiserating. Somebody messaged me and told me to take photos while the bruises are fresh. He's really hurt my arm and my leg. My face is bruised on one side. I know once he sobers up he will be horrified at what he has done. If what he did with our daughter's ashes doesn't shock him into getting himself help, I don't know what will. I worry that it will just make him continue in a bad cycle. I know he will be upset at knowing what he has done to me. He's so gentle when he's sober. I can't be there for him again if he decides he wants to get help. Not after what he has done. I am devastated. I can't bring her back and I can't undo what he did on Thursday. I feel like I failed her twice. I'm sorry you are having to face life without your dad. There is just no preparing for death and grief. No matter how natural any of it is meant to be. It's really hard. I found keeping busy really helped too. We both went through some intense therapy separately and together. He joined a support group for grieving dads and it really helped him in a lot of ways. There was still clearly a lot of pain that he was struggling with. That's when he was turning to alcohol. I joined a support group for grieving moms and everybody was lovely, but I found the sadness to be too heavy. Even in the lighter conversations and activities, there was a heaviness in the air. I found yoga, meditation and some peaceful walks to be really helpful. I found a quiet spot where it was just me and the nature around me. I was alone with my thoughts and could let it all out and cry. Or I would just listen to everything around me and find some peace. We did a lot of walks together and I know it helped him to be able to let out some of his emotions. Away from home and just away from things. He started to get more help when he sent sober. I just wish he has stuck with it. I know addiction is complex and people relapse and withdraw from support. And I've tried to be there for him. But I can't do it again. Not after what he did on Thursday. It can't be undone. I hope he gets the help he needs. I know I'm hoping to have to start seeing somebody again. I don't even know to process what has happened. Update post. October 6, 2023. 2 months later. I'm not sure if I'm breaking any rules by posting an update. Thank you to everybody who reached out to me and commented on my original post. I didn't mean to leave any of you worrying. I deleted everything not long after taking an overdose. I had planned on trying again as soon as I got out of hospital. I'm still here though, and I was feeling extremely overwhelmed. I wanted to let you all know that I'm safe and I didn't go back. I can't get into everything that has gone on with my husband, as the police have been involved, and some of it is ongoing. I can say that he was playing games and acted calm and collected with them at first, trying to make out that he hadn't done anything wrong and that it was me with the problem. He told them that I was welcome home at any time. A couple of things happened, and after I received some very threatening voice messages and texts from him. He reported my phone as stolen and had me cut off. He was trying to make me go home and have nowhere else to turn to. After some intervention and run-ins with the police, he offered to leave the house for a couple of days a few weeks ago. I was to go there with some help, allowing me to get my belongings and our daughter's things. Nobody asked him to leave. He offered. I arrived there, along with some help, to find that he had destroyed all of my things. When I say all of my things, I mean everything that I owned and that was in that house. I can't even imagine how long it must have taken him. He sliced my shoes and had gone over some of them in black marker. The same with my handbags. He cut up my clothes. All of my products were all over the bathroom, which he had smashed up. There were items of my clothes in the bath and he had poured bleach all over them, as well as my cosmetics all destroyed and mixed in. He had smashed up, broken my other belongings. He had trashed the house, including our daughter's room. The only things I couldn't find were some of her things he had taken with him. I don't really remember much of being in the house. I suppose I kind of went numb once I realized what he had done and saw our daughter's room. The photos of it all are awful. He has claimed he doesn't remember doing any of it. He then put it down to a drunken rage. After doing it, he went straight over to his parents, knowing what was coming, and pleaded with them for help. They arranged for him to get some private help. I mentioned in my post about his issues with alcohol. After our daughter passed away, we both got help, together and separately. His drinking got out of control and to a point where he was trying to hide it, which made him even worse. I know he has been hurting, but it got to a point where it was almost impossible to have a reasonable conversation with him. After talking through things with various professionals, I realize now too that there was a lot of control going on, financial and emotional, and no matter how much he was hurting, I know it doesn't excuse his behavior. However much I have felt for him and wanted him to get all of the help he needs, I can't see past what he did with our daughter's ashes. I felt like I lost her all over again, and I felt like I had somehow failed her again. His parents did reach out and promised they would get back the things of our daughters that he took. I haven't heard from them since. I'm sure it isn't easy for them. I've been getting some help and I'm on a waiting list for some more therapy. I also start a new job on Tuesday. I am currently sitting here on the floor of my new place, typing this out. I picked up the keys yesterday. My tenancy officially begins on Monday. It isn't much to look at and I'm starting all over again. But for the first time in weeks I feel like I can finally breathe a little. It's a bit overwhelming to have some space of my own again. But for the first time in what feels like a long time, I feel like I can almost relax. I have had a new bed donated to me and it will arrive on Monday. And my keyworker has applied for a cooker for me via a white goods scheme with one of my utility providers. I don't have any hot water or heating until my gas is uncapped on Monday. But I do have some electricity. I've got some books to read. And just this morning I picked up a bag of mostly canned food from the food bank. It took a lot to be able to face going. But it's enough to last me for the next few days, and it doesn't need to be heated. I might not have what I had. But I'm not where I was. I'm not sure where things will go from here. It felt like I had died along with my daughter. Yet my body was still there and going through life. I want to believe I can do something in her memory. Even if that something is making it through each day. I'm safe. And I'm trying to be well. Relevant comments. After everything was destroyed. One thing I can remember very clearly was a police officer telling me to take a good look around at everything and to remember that everything that was destroyed, he was going to do that to me if I stayed with him. And to never go back. His drunken bursts of anger would come from nowhere. Like on that night I had to leave. I would tell myself that it must have been something I had done. But he would look for anything to get angry over, and if there was nothing, he would just start throwing accusations at me. Making something up. It's scary how somebody can switch like that. There isn't always something that has happened to have started it. Like some people think. It's one of the reasons I didn't immediately go to the police. Because I didn't think they would believe that it had all just come out of nowhere. His burst of anger. I know the cause of his pain and why he was drinking. But the outbursts were at random. Please tell me he was arrested. He was. There's a lot going on with it all. Photos have been taken. And everything that could be documented has been. The police are dealing with him. I'm also getting help in getting him served with an injunction. As well as some legal advice for divorce. Have his parents reached out to make amends for what their past son did? They reached out through the police. Who passed the message on to my support worker. They wanted to let me know that they are sorry and that they will get my daughter's items to me. That he took with him. Nothing more than that as far as I know. They are good people. They just never really had a lot to do with me because they didn't really approve of us getting together. He's a bit older than me and they wanted him to marry somebody his own age. They let it get in the way of any kind of relationship with me. I'm sure they are horrified by what has happened though and probably don't know what else to say. Support group and moving forward. I'm trying to work on being around others again. I was going to a support group for grieving mothers. The group itself is such a lovely group and a really great idea. But it just felt a little too heavy for me. Even when there were activities and not really any talking. The pain was there in each person's face. I started to find some peace in going out on walks and making small talk on them. But mostly I found peace in finding places on the walls where I could just be. Listening to the nature and the world around me and watching everything. I sometimes feel her close by when I'm out. I look at all of the different colors and look out for all of the different animals I see. And I know that's what she would have been doing. It brings me some comfort. Thank you for your words. I hope one day I can feel more peace when I think of her. I keep trying to think about how happy she was. And trying to take some of that on. She was always smiling and laughing. Even in her last hours. I know we can't have the innocence that they have. But I try to take on some of her happy outlook on life. She had a smile for everybody and was full of love. I feel dead inside and it's really hard to try to channel some of that energy she had. I know this isn't how she would want me to feel. But as you said, it's an ongoing process. How heartbreaking. Like her, I too wouldn't be able to get past him flushing those ashes. No matter how hard I wanted to put the past in the past. That's all I would be able to see. Hope she gets away and finds a permanent sense of peace and serenity. I don't know why I kept going. The title and mood spoilers were clear. Abusive behavior always tells on the person doing it. Husband claims he destroyed everything in a drunken rage, that he doesn't remember any of it, but he was lucid and in control enough to save his daughter's things and destroy only his wife's. They are good people. They just never really had a lot to do with me because they didn't really approve of us getting together. He's a bit older than me and they wanted him to marry somebody his own age. One thing I can remember very clearly was a police officer telling me to take a good look around at everything and to remember that everything that was destroyed, he was going to do that to me if I stayed with him, and to never go back. Another tale of a significantly younger partner not seeing that they are getting abused. I just lost my 17-year-old last week. I will have his ashes by Saturday. If anyone threw them away, they would be instantly dead to me and I would certainly be at risk of being arrested over it. That's unforgivable and the lowest of the low. My heart breaks for Oop. I hope she finds peace. Fuck dude. What a title. This is one of those that I'm just gonna skip the first post and go straight to the update. I shouldn't have read this before bedtime. That said, it sounds like things are starting to trend upwards for Oop and I wish her the best. Her ex is a monster. I don't care that he is grieving. It does not excuse his cruel and morally bankrupt behavior. I'm glad the police are involved and Oop is safe. I hope she is able to mourn and heal in peace. Can't say what I hope happens to that dude, 'cause it will get me banned. I wish Oop peace and safety. Jesus Christ, licking a window. I have never wanted to fight a dude in a parking lot so badly as I do with her ex. I wish I could give her a hug. She didn't need to tell us there was a significant age gap between the two of them. But was anybody else surprised that that was there? That was horrible. Hope she finds peace. Having been in a toxic relationship before where violence was the norm, I would just like to say, well done, you're doing amazing. It took me a long time to leave and it's hard, but the worst is over now. Stay strong, be free and happy. Sadly, lots of marriages don't survive the loss of a child. This one seems to have imploded more spectacularly than most. And I'm glad Oop is safe and doing better. Yikes on a cavalcade of bikes. Oh my god, those last few paragraphs. I'm bawling like a baby. My god, this was a heavy read. Not in my wildest dreams could I have thought of a sentence like the title. I really feel for Op and I have no idea how she made it through all that tbh. And as much as a boss the husband is, I honestly feel bad for him too. To have these intense bursts of uncontrollable anger to literally destroy everything and pour his daughter's ashes in the toilet. He must also be in immense pain. Just writing that last sentence made my stomach turn. He was trying to make me go home and have nowhere else to turn to, so he could murder her. Reading that was absolutely harrowing, to be honest. As I read, I was really hoping the OD warning way for him.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. EpicAriaCast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.